Of all the words used to describe the less traveled parts of our world, few are more ill-defined than wilderness. To some it means tracts of untraveled land, to others a place without Wi-Fi. How far do you have to go? How few feet have to have walked a path before something is truly wild? On a gloomy day in April, 4 friends left from our home in Jasper, Alberta, along a 27-day ski traverse. Our route would take us from Yellowhead Lake in Mount Robson Provincial Park, traveling through forests, meadows, and ice fields, reaching the Icefields Parkway in Banff National Park. Along the way, we'd be passing through some of the most remote terrain in the Rockies, land which many would call wilderness. Along the way, I would be watching, listening, and asking, what does wilderness mean to you? Passing behind Mount Fitzwilliam and towards the Tonquin Valley, the land quickly grows more wild, and signs of human travel quickly fade. As the days pass, nature shapes our routine. Move when it's sunny, sleep when it's dark, eat when you're hungry. Life takes on a simple rhythm. Traveling by skis only lightly skims the landscape, wind and snow quickly erasing signs of our passage. On the 4th day, we reached Fraser Pass, a remote corner of Mount Robson Provincial Park, and the headwaters of the mighty Fraser River that flows all the way to Vancouver and the Pacific Ocean. Digging in for an extra day, we hoped to ascend the curiously named the Cube Ridge, a 2,360-meter peak named in 1923, which would have great views of the surrounding peaks. Heading south, our route would take us to Athabasca Pass, skiing beneath Mallard Mountain. A backcountry lodge lies in the shadow of Mallard Mountain. Though closed for the season, it sticks out as an island of civilization in an otherwise rugged landscape. Does the lodge lessen the wildness of the valley? Is it a lack of buildings that defines a wilderness, or is it a lack of people? A slight veer and we would have never seen the lodge. There was a great deal of history around Athabasca Pass. In the era of David Thompson in the 1800s, this was the highway for the fur trade. What was once busy is now a backwater. Wilderness can come and go with time, it seems. Ahead of schedule, we spent an easy day around the pass, catching up on sleep, absorbing the silence. Descending down to the Wood River, we were nearing the end of the first leg of the trip, aiming for the edge of Kinbasket Lake. The lake is man-made and was formed with the creation of Mica Dam in 1964. Submerged stumps from logging in the 1950s and 60s dot the shoreline, reminders that man's touch on the landscape has been ongoing for many years. The landscape is still catching up.
What is wilderness to me? That's actually a hard question, and I've wondered about that for many years, of what is wilderness, and I still don't actually know. I think it's something that we throw about a lot without really understanding or thinking about it. It's a very Western white man's term, what is wilderness, because here before the white man came, there was really no such thing as wilderness, because all the land was already someone's home for the Indigenous people. And even now, everything is a home for some sort of creature. Even up on the ice fields, there's snow fleas, kalimbala, jumping around, and that's just their home. We always viewed it as a place that was inhospitable, uncivilized, and couldn't be tamed. It didn't really have a dollar value to it. And so it was a term given to something that we didn't really understand. At least for me, a quote that a friend gave me once about what is wilderness that I always liked, that if you could walk all day, and at the end of the day, if you couldn't get to a pub, then that's wilderness, and I like that, and so that's the term that I think of for myself.
After 10 days by ourselves, we would have visitors arriving from the high seas of Kinbasket Lake. Liam could only stay for the first half of the trip, and a boat was arriving to ferry him back to civilization, while bringing in much-needed supplies, along with James, our partner for the second leg of the trip. "30 minutes of socializing with the newcomers, and we were back to our solitude. James had a fair bit to get caught up on. The two halves of the trip had very different flavors. The first with quiet forests and open snowy meadows. The second was a land of wind and ice. After walking to Snowline, we crested onto the icy spine of the Rockies, traveling on the string of ice fields stretching from Mount Clemenceau to Mount Columbia. Both landscapes feel remote, but the icy stretches of glacier have a purity to them. These are places where people are only visitors. Human problems seem a far, far way away. Sun, rocks, and snow compose the world.
Wilderness is, I guess, just somewhere you go to get away from the normal grind on how you just got to get by, because to me, I come out to the wilderness because I just want to get away from shit. It's a beautiful place to be. I don't know, it's hard to explain what wilderness is.
It takes time to reveal the subtleties of the ice fields. As the second week of the trip flowed into the third, a breath of wind or a glint of sun on the snow can capture our imagination. Every glimpse has its own beauty. There's treasure everywhere. The last stretch of the trip would see us cross the Columbia Icefield, the largest ice field in the Canadian Rockies, from its western flank below Mount King Edward, passing beneath the mighty Mount Columbia, and descending to our last objective, the aesthetic Castleguard Mountain.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess in a really dry sense, it's just somewhere with not a lot of people. I think it's as much of a mindset as a place. And I don't know. I mean, coming out to somewhere as unfortunately awful as this, you know, you would think you'd have to be pretty nuts to do that, but I don't know. It's just so worth it. I mean, you look around, there's just a sea of peaks, and pretty darn cool to be out here. I'd call this wilderness. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just about kind of getting to live a second life in a way. You get to leave kind of the human world and just see the world as it's been for a very long time without humans, and just get to come out here and kind of escape everything else. And that's I don't know, that's kind of a big part of wilderness for me.
I guess wilderness is it's usually a place, but it's mostly a feeling that you get from a place that you haven't been to, or somewhere new that you're exploring. Yeah, that's what wilderness is to me.
Perched on the southern edge of the Columbia Icefield, Castleguard Mountain gives a panoramic view of the icefield and a bluebird sky made for a picturesque way to end the trip. Skiing and boarding from the summit encapsulated the freedom that wild places provide. Set your own tracks, find your own way. If there is one sort of terrain that seems to encapsulate our thoughts of wilderness, it is the Icefields. It seems wilderness means different things to different people, but its value is acknowledged. It is something to be sought, experienced, and protected. "27 days after setting off, we reached the Icefields Parkway. Happy but sad, tired but awake, forever changed by the journey, and better for it."
I should have